Hello YouTube, this is Let's Talk Horror, and welcome back to another video. Okay guys, so just very quickly, I want to get this out of the way. I want to wish you all out there a very happy Memorial Day. By the time this video is up, it will be Memorial Day. No matter what you're doing, whether you were out with friends or family, whether you're just in the backyard grilling or whatever, hopefully you're eating some good food. Hopefully you had a really good long holiday weekend, as I did. And yeah, happy Memorial Day. So I wanted to take a little bit of a break from Friday the 13th because my last 4 videos have been Friday the 13th, and I wanted to take a little bit of a break from that. I do have a community post on Jason's inclusion in Multiverses, the Warner Brothers game, if you want to go check that out. And then I know Sean Cunningham said some things at a convention that rubbed some people the wrong way, and I'll get to that in another video, but I wanted to take a little bit of a break, and I thought right now was the perfect time to talk about a certain movie, and that is Killer Klowns from Outer Space from 1988. If you don't know, today is also the 36th anniversary of the release of Killer Klowns from Outer Space from 1988. It was released on May 27, 1988, and we are just days away from the major release of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space video game. So I thought right now was just a perfect time to do a review on Killer Klowns from Outer Space, to talk about this movie. And so I'm going to get right into that right now. And you might be thinking, okay, he is someone who has a lot of nostalgia for this, and it might surprise you to know that I honestly do not. I don't have any nostalgia from this. I didn't see this until my early to mid 20s, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's just the way it is. For some reason, I never got around to this in childhood or even in my teenage years. But it's a movie I really wish I would have. Because if you don't know, I obviously watched a lot of movies as a kid, but the movies that I remember watching the most of were It, 1990, so the It miniseries with Tim Curry, and then House from 1986. I've talked about that here on the channel before. That was another one. And then the third one was Ernest Scared Stupid. Oh my goodness, did I watch that one. I haven't watched it since childhood, but I watched that one a ton growing up. And I can just tell you right now that Killer Klowns from Outer Space would have been a movie that I would have absolutely fallen in love with, would have been a movie that I absolutely adored growing up. So I wish I would have discovered this at a younger age, because it's a movie that I would absolutely love. But I didn't. I only saw this in my early to mid 20s. But that's what's fascinating to me is a movie like Killer Klowns from Outer Space. It's very cheesy, it's very schlocky, it's charming, but it knows what it is. It's a B movie to its core. And movies like that, a lot of them, you kind of have to have that nostalgia. Like Leprechaun, for example. As much as I defend the original Leprechaun, that is a movie that I defend partly because I have that powerful emotion of nostalgia. I don't have that with Killer Klowns, and yet this is one that has always stuck with me, even in the short time that it's been a part of my horror appetite, if you will, to the point to where every time this anniversary rolls around, I have to pop it in that night and just watch it and just have a blast with it. And I think that's the thing about this movie is you can be introduced to it at any age, whether you're in your childhood stage or your teenage years, or you're in your 20s or 30s, or even in your older age potentially. You can see this at any age and have a good time with it, and it sticks with you. At least it did with me personally, because this movie knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be something that it is not. And if you go in expecting Killer Klowns from Outer Space to be this incredibly dark, gritty, serious horror movie, that kind of is a problem with your expectations. But if you know what you're getting into, this really fun, really cheesy, really schlocky, really charming 80s monster movie, you're going to have a blast with this. But let's read the synopsis for Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and then we'll actually really get into the review. When teenagers Mike, played by Grant Kramer, and Debbie, played by Suzanne Snyder, see a comet crash outside their sleepy small town, they investigate and discover a pack of murderous aliens who look very much like circus clowns. They try to warn the local authorities, but everyone assumes their story is a prank. Meanwhile, the clowns set about harvesting and eating as many people as they can. It's not until they kidnap Debbie that Mike decides it's up to him to stop the clown's bloody rampage. And that is what Killer Klowns from Outer Space is all about. So if that sounds interesting, I recommend you go see the film right now. Even stop the video and see the film and then come back and listen to my review and see if we agree. Just what I love about this movie, it's so charming. It's so charming. It's so cheesy, but it's so charming, and it knows what it is, and it embraces that fully. You know, one thing I love about the clowns is that not only do these look like clowns, by the way, the clowns' masks and stuff like that, they all look great. And these clowns themselves, you know, they look silly and they don't look too scary, but at the same time, especially, I can definitely see someone like me who had a fear of clowns growing up being unsettled by how these clowns look, but it doesn't go too far, and that's kind of the perfect look for a movie like this. So the look of the clowns is iconic. The look of the clowns is great. The music is outstanding. You're going to fall in love with the music the first time you see this. But one thing I love the most about this movie is the fact that every cliche that we think of about clowns and carnivals in general, they use to their advantage here in really fun, really creative ways. We think about, you know, when we think about clowns, we think about like, oh, they have pies that they throw in your face, and they have a scene in here about that. And, oh, well, they're big red noses, and that plays a big part of the story. Oh, well, shadow puppets and puppetry, you see moments with that. Oh, well, a carnival and carnival food like popcorn and cotton candy, that plays a role. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. They took all the cliches that we associate with clowns and they used it in really fun, really dark, really creative ways. Even something like balloons and balloon animals, that's in here too. Oh, a car that seemingly can only fit one or two clowns, but it ends up being able to fit, you know, like 40 clowns. That plays a role in here too. They took all this stuff, all these cliches that we associate with clowns, and again, they made it really fun, really creative. And this movie definitely has its more comedic moments, but it has a good mix. It has purely comedic moments, I would say, like everything at the drugstore and that whole sequence with the clowns at the drugstore, to the boxing kill of, what are you gonna do? Knock my block off? Like,
what are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Like that, just purely comedic, there to get a laugh, and I love that, and I thought that was great. But it also has some truly dark, truly sinister moments. The one everyone kind of mentions is the part with the little girl at the burger shop and the clown beckoning her outside to leave her family, and we see that he's got a hammer behind his back. It's a truly sinister moment in the film. Another truly sinister moment is everything in the police station after Mooney is killed and the clown is sitting there and he uses Mooney as a puppet to communicate a message to Dave.
Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you.
Genuinely creepy, genuinely sinister, and I think those moments are necessary in a movie like this. And as fun as this movie is, it's nice to have those darker moments. And then, of course, you have the moments that I think are both a mix of comedic and kind of sinister and kind of dark. And moments I would throw in that category are the shadow puppet scene with that group of people. It's really fun, but it's also really kind of has this sinister edge to it. I would also throw the scene at the carnival with the security guard.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
The whole, what are you going to do with those pies, boys? And, that starts comedic and then it kind of gets a little dark and twisted. It's nice. It's nice. It's a fun little change of a pace, and it's good to have all those moments in there. As far as the characters, they are hit and miss, and let's say it. This is a 1980s B movie that knows it's a 1980s B movie. The acting in many ways is intentionally bad. The dialogue and the line delivery is intentionally kind of bad. The characters themselves are hit or miss to me. John Vernon's character is outstanding as Mooney the cop. He's great. He's memorable. How he thinks it's all just a prank, and he's this very straight-laced old school cop. That's great. Then you have characters like the Terenzi brothers, which at times are really funny, and then they kind of steal the show. And then at times they're just like incredibly annoying and they grate on you. So those two characters are just very hit or miss for me. But if I had one genuine complaint with this before I sign off, if I had to come up with one like genuine negative for me, I've seen this movie 3, 4, maybe 5 times now, and the whole love triangle thing that they're going for between Mike, Debbie, and Dave, that they spend a decent amount of the movie wanting you to invest in, I wasn't feeling it at all. I was not invested in that love triangle even a little bit. I couldn't have cared at all about who Debbie was going to end up with, and they don't even really resolve that part of the movie at all, and they spend a decent amount of time building up that there's this tension between Mike and Dave because of Debbie and this whole love triangle thing. I just wasn't feeling it. So that's the one part of the movie that I could have done without, and they don't even really resolve it. So if I had one complaint about the movie, one genuine complaint about the movie, that's it. Now, again, as I've said, don't get it twisted. If you're going in expecting this to be like a cinematic masterpiece, it's not. It's certainly not at all. The acting is shoddy, the dialogue is shoddy, the line delivery and stuff like that is shoddy. You know, these are not incredible characters by any means, but you know, it's Killer Klowns from Outer Space, and you get that. You get that in purely comedic moments, you get that in purely horrific moments, and you get a little bit of both, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a movie that you can experience at any age for the first time and fall in love with, as I kind of have. You know, this is a movie, every time we get to this time of year, this date in general, I have to watch it and just turn my brain off and have fun with Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So I definitely recommend it. It's not going to be for everyone, but I personally recommend it. And if I had to rate it out of 10 for what it's going for, I think it's an 8 or even an 8.5. I just have a lot of fun with this one, and I really wish I would have experienced this potentially as a kid, because I would have fallen in love with it and would have that nostalgic feeling for it, which would make me love it even more. And I'm just surprised that this never became a franchise. Like, I remember when I watched this for the first time and I got done, I was like, cool, I'm gonna see if I can find the sequel, because I was sure there was gonna be at least a sequel or two, and there isn't. And that really shocked me, and I know that the original creators of the movie have been trying to get a sequel done since like the early 2010s, and that there was talk of like a movie in 3D. Return of the Killer Klowns in 3D was supposed to be happening, that never got off the ground. I guess several years ago there was supposed to be like a TV show happening at Sci-Fi that never got off the ground. So hopefully, if this video game does one thing, it brings the movie to a new generation, and we do finally get that follow-up movie, because there's a lot of fun you could have with iconic characters such as Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Yeah, hopefully with the video game bringing new relevance to this property, maybe we will finally get that sequel on a streaming service or TV show on Sci-Fi or something like that, and we can all have a new movie or show to look forward to. But that's going to do it for me, guys. Again, you know, I really enjoyed this movie. Really wish I was introduced to it at a younger age for what it is. And hope you guys have had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend, and I will see you guys later. Take care.